Hello, everybody, and welcome to Skish. And today we're reviewing Frieren Season 2, Episode number 5. I cannot believe we're actually halfway through the show already. I believe the show is only 10 episodes this season, so unfortunately, we're halfway done. Sucks, because I absolutely love Frieren. Frieren Fridays are like the best thing of the week. So anyway, let's get right into Episode 5. This episode was, I almost want to call it a filler episode, you could kind of call it, which I don't mind in Frieren, honestly. I like the little side quests and filler type stuff. So not a whole crazy amount of stuff went on today. So this episode might be a little bit shorter, but still a fantastic Frieren episode nonetheless. So let's get right into it. So we start off in the beer region in the Northern Plateau. They're just sitting down, eating a good meal. Got some meat on the table, some bread, some salad looking stuff. And they're just kind of talking, yapping it up about the region. Apparently, this is the only region in the Northern Plateau that is like really heavy on grain producing. So there's a lot of bread. And bread is a very common theme in the episode, so we'll just keep that in mind. They're sitting there and they come across this conversation. Not that I want to say they're eavesdropping, but they're kind of eavesdropping across these two gentlemen here about a liquor called Bowshaft. Apparently, this Bowshaft is an elven liquor that's supposed to be the greatest tasting liquor in the entire world. All these people, these liquor connoisseurs, are trying to get their hands on it, but nobody can find it or where it went off to. But apparently it's the best thing since sliced bread. So they leave dinner and in walks this very short-statured man with long hair, grubby looking beard, and a funny looking hat. And this man is Old Man Foss. Old Man Foss definitely has a history with Frieren, except he makes a comment about how he's with some new people. This guy seems to be like Frieren, where he can live a really long time. I think he says he's a dwarf or something, but he can live a pretty long time too. So I love Old Man Foss. This dude's awesome. I really wish he would be a longer character in the show. I love his outfit, his characteristics, his personality. He seems like bright and bushy-tailed. I mean, he's got the scruffy hair to like fit the bill, you know? So long story short, Foss loves liquor. Liquorhead, just like Hyder, so they got along splendidly. Foss here says he found some Bowshaft, but he needs Frieren's help because there's a barrier blocking where they need to go, and the only person to get rid of it is Frieren. Frieren just so happens to be in the same village as Foss, so why not recruit her for the job? And we get some new Fern lore this episode. We found out that Fern can read ancient Elven text. Apparently, Frieren just drilled it into her when she was a child, and I love the little sad look on Fern's face when she's trying to like just get Elven language stuff just shoved down her face. I love that. And with the next thing, we get a little context clue on what's about to come in the episode. Frieren mentions the name Milliard. Apparently, she was also an elf who knew Frieren way back in the day, because we know elves live for freaking ever. But we learn more about her very shortly in the episode. So Foss wants Frieren and her party to get rid of this barrier so he can finally get his Bowshaft. Which, hey, I understand, man. He's been looking his whole life for it. Give the man some liquor, you know? And Frieren initially declines. Fern and Stark accept the offer, overturning Frieren's decision because Frieren wants grimoires. Grimoires don't pay the bills. Foss is offering 20 gold, which is a lot of money, to get rid of this barrier, and they need the money. They're a little broke. We know it's kind of a common theme for them to be a broke party. So instead of grimoires, they get 20 gold. So Fern and Stark accept Foss's offer, and Frieren has no decision. She must get rid of the barrier. And just a quick note, the barrier apparently is going to take like 3 months to do. So this is no small task. They're going to be in this village for 3 months and trying to work on this. So they definitely have their hands full. So this is where we finally learn about Milliard. Apparently, she seems to be like upset about something sitting on this rock. And she makes the comment of, what would you do if you spent your whole life to something and it ended up being a waste of time? And we don't know what she did, but she's talking about her distant past. She makes a comment, and she's holding this Bowshaft. And she makes a comment about how she made this encryption, the one that Foss found. And it says, right here, Bowshaft is the greatest liquor to have ever existed. And she does this not to gas up Bowshaft, just to kind of do something that has no point. Because apparently she spent her whole life dedicating to something, and it was worthless. It was a waste of time. It was garbage. She spent probably what seems to be probably thousands of years at this point, because we know elves live super long, dedicate her whole life to this one thing, and ended up being a waste of time. So I don't know if she's doing it out of resentment, but she carved this thing, and now she wants other people to waste their time trying to figure out, is Bowshaft really the bee's knees? Is this stuff really worth its weight in gold? So they eventually get the barrier down. Foss and the squad enter this chamber, this weird, gross-looking chamber that looks like it's been there for hundreds of years. And we get a flashback to the old party where they're walking, and why Frieren initially declined to help Foss with the liquor. Hyder makes a really important comment here, because Frieren knew that the liquor sucked. She makes a comment about, what would you do if this liquor was just turned out to be terrible? We spent all this time trying to get this liquor, and it was just awful. What would you do? And Hyder makes a really important comment here, and he says, well, if it's terrible, it's probably better off best enjoyed with friends. And Frieren and Foss finally drink the stuff, and Frieren mentions that it's terrible. It's the worst tasting drink she's ever had in her whole life. But she says it with a smile, remembering what Hyder told her after they declined the offer. So everybody takes swigs of the bow shaft. Everybody agrees that it's awful. Foss seems to be in very good spirits. We know he dedicated his whole life to finding the stuff, but he's in very good spirits. And he makes the same exact comment as Hyder. Well, if it's terrible, then there's plenty to go around, and it's better off enjoyed with friends. And it's just Frieren throwing out more life lessons at us. Even terrible times can be great with the right people. So they throw a big party at the village. Our party eventually leaves, and they're back on the trail. And they're eating some bread. This stuff looks like cardboard. It looks very... Wait, the sound that it makes when it hits Stark's plate is like a rock hitting another stone. So they end up at this giant castle-looking facility called the Norm Company. Apparently this is a big like trading company, logistics company, and they do a lot of stuff around the Northern Plateau to get people the supplies they need. And because the bread is so shitty right now, apparently they're running into a lot of supply issues. So we're sitting in here in the secretary's office, whatever you want to call it, and this young bloke here notices Frieren. Initially, when I was watching the show, I thought it was for a good thing. I'm like, oh, they're going to have Frieren come to the king, and it's going to be great. Just like the last time when they rescued the sword. Everybody's going to be like, Frieren, help us out. It's good to see you again. That's not what we got this time. It turns out our Frieren is technically a wanted criminal. She has a massive debt owed to this company. They're about to coerce her into paying that debt off, or she can't leave. So Frieren's a damn criminal. And I love the Frieren. The rest of the episode is just great for Frieren faces. I mean, it's just the bee's knees here. Frieren is talking about this debt, and they're about to get to the point of how much she owes. Stark and Fern have no idea how much she owes, but it's a lot of money. So they're talking about how much Frieren owes, and she has like basically all their money. And she makes a comment about having so much money that this guy can keep the change. Like, she's not worried about it. And this is where we get the full total of how much Frieren actually owes. Turns out that Frieren owes over 300 gold coins. Over the interest it accrued in 80 years, it ended up being 300. So she has to work in the mines, and there's some great clips of Frieren just dripped out in the mine attire. She has to work in the mine for 300 years to pay off the debt. They took everything as collateral. They gave her nothing but a robe, a rope, and a pickaxe. And Frieren is just at the bottom of the barrel, man. She's really having a tough time right now. For her, 300 years isn't super long, but for everyone else, they'll be dead. Jump cut a little bit to the mines. Frieren really isn't even physically mining. We come to find out later what exactly the plan is here, but she's using her mage powers, her magic, to locate minerals in the mine. And the way they animated her just finding the minerals is immaculate. They put so much effort into just mining. It's crazy to me. I mean, it literally just looks absolutely beautiful, and she's just finding silver ore, and it's just so great. Like, the animators literally cook every single time with this show. With the most mundane things. So Norm from the Norm Company, the president, comes to talk to Frieren in the mine, and he's kind of like there describing what exactly is going on. He says the Northern Plateau is having a lot of logistics issues. The company's doing pretty poorly right now. If they don't figure out something with this mine, a lot of people are going to starve and die. I don't know if they were anticipating Frieren coming to this area, but they used her debt to coerce her in a way to find and locate these minerals so they could get the whole logistics company rolling again, and so they can get all the balls rolling. So he mentions that if they find silver, that's going to be the biggest thing they could ever find. Frieren's debts are going to be paid off in full. She won't have to worry about it. She'll be able to take some home, and all the people of the Northern Plateau can get their stuff, and no one is going to be in danger anymore from starving. And he pretty much just pleads with Frieren, please save the Northern Plateau. And just real quick before the episode ends, they were discussing how to save Frieren because they had no idea what was going on. they said they were going to raid the mine, and Fern holds up her staff. I just love how like they went right to violence to save Frieren. So when this episode ended, it made me think about something. Everybody has these statues of Himmel, and Himmel was amazing. He was the leader of the party of heroes. They defeated the Demon Lord, basically making a new era for all of the people in this region, or the whole, if you want to consider, world. Throughout these journeys that Frieren's been on since Himmel died with her new party, it makes me wonder if people are going to make statues of Frieren. Throughout all she's done, I mean, she's helped save the Northern Plateau. She's stopped a demon from wreaking havoc with a stolen sword. She's done so much for so many people for so long. It makes me wonder, and I know this is a little dark, but when Frieren dies, is she going to get the same kind of treatment and claim to fame as Himmel did? And I hope she does, because she deserves it, because she's done so much for so many people. I hope they erect statues of Frieren, and I hope that she becomes like this living legend that everybody respects and looks into the past as she was the best thing to happen to us. She saved so many lives, changed so many people, and just did great things for everybody. And I hope she's honored as highly as Himmel is. And I know it's a dark thought, but it just got me thinking after watching this. But that is the end of today's episode. If you found anything interesting, informative, and what you thought about Frieren episode 5, leave a comment down below. How are you enjoying the season so far, since we are at the halfway point? I'm excited for episode 6. I'm not excited for the show to end, so I'm hoping we get more after this season. That's just all we can do is cross our fingers and hope, right? All right, guys, thank you. Make sure to subscribe, like, and comment. We'll see you on the next one.